The turnovers have loomed large for Utah State. Back-to-back takeaways.
And they've come on pass protection situations. The lack of the running game is contributing to these turnovers. Boise State first trying to throw the football a lot and then being forced to throw it because of the lack of the run game. And what that's meant is that they've been struggling in the red zone because of the poor field position their offense has put them in. And so far in this game, that's been the difference.
That's Kevin Clune, the defensive coordinator for Utah State, whose Aggies have been getting after it.
Hope his mom forgives me for calling him Keith Clune. Sorry, Mrs. Clune.
Ken Myers delivers somehow. Wow, Myers took the big pop and delivered to Wyatt Houston. Ben Weaver bringing the pressure.
Myers does a good job of stepping up, breaks the pocket, turns his back to the defense. It's a naked play. He's out there by himself, but just drops the ball on the money. And I'm telling you what, Wyatt Houston is becoming a playmaker for this Utah Aggie offense for the last couple of weeks.
First and goal now for Utah State and Myers. High snap, slant incomplete. Intended for Sharp, covered by Dion again.
Just an errant throw that time. Tried to use some anticipation to hit Sharp. Sharp's such a playmaker, so versatile. They move him around a lot. They put him in the backfield sometimes because he's so versatile. He can be used as a running back. But inside the 5-yard line, the field shrinks quite a bit here. But he's somebody that can go up and high point that football. Let's see what they dial up here on second down.
Sharp goes in motion. Inside give, touchdown. Luan Hunt into the end zone. Through the first 6 games of the season, Boise State had allowed only 7 touchdowns all year. 3 on the board already for Utah State, just 31 seconds into the second quarter. Warren's kick makes it 24-3. The Aggies dominated in Boise a year ago. Are giving the Broncos exactly what they got on the blue turf.
Well, Utah State comes out in their jumbo personnel and just gets some good movement at the point of attack. That's 6 offensive linemen, no tight ends. Everybody picks up their guy. And again, another overrun by the safety and a missed tackle. And the Aggies are on the board with another touchdown. Tell you what, Utah State is beating Boise State at its own game. They're running the football when they need to. They're forcing turnovers. These two teams are very similar, but clearly early on, Utah State has showed up a lot stronger than Boise has.
Young and Johnson will be back to return the kick. An almost perfect start for Utah State. Takeaways, short field, offense converting.
Boise State leads the conference in big explosive plays. This game is far from over, but they got to get something going offensively.
Scriver goes into the end zone. It'll be a touchback. Boise State football at the 25 as Johnson just takes a knee. I mean, nothing for the Boise State offense through the last 3 possessions and all night.
You got to establish the run. They got a really good offensive line. Left tackle Reese Odiambo, the center Marcus Henry, their right tackle Mario Yaku, number 66. He's more of a true guard. But in a game like this on the road, you got to do 2 things. You got to bring your defense and you got to be able to run the football. So far tonight, Boise hasn't tried to establish the run. If they want to get back in this ball game, even with the score being what it is, they have to run it.
Yaku back in at right tackle. McNichols still on the sideline. So ripping hands off to Kelsey Young, the Stanford graduate transfer. And there is nothing there. Filionga on the stop.
Been impressed with this defensive line again. Just a good job of keeping their shoulders square. And they run to the football. There's just nowhere for the back to run. They're canceling gaps and controlling the line of scrimmage, the exact recipe that they wanted.
Rippon delivers complete to the outside of the tight end, Jake Rowe. Biggest pass play of the night for Boise State.
And it's a first down. I think they need to go tempo here to try and catch Utah State slipping. Good protection up front. He puts the ball on the money to Rowe. That's what you need to get this quarterback settled down on the road.
First time the Broncos have moved the chains.
See a diamond formation at the top of your screen.
Rippon looks that way and then comes back, almost intercepted, intended for Rowe again, off of his hands. Rockamore had a chance at the pick.
He missed a wide open receiver. Keep your eye right here. There's some confusion there with Utah State. I'm sorry, it's Spurbeck running wide open. They're in some sort of man coverage. And they let Spurbeck go. He comes off of him and tries to come back to Rowe. My guess is Boise State will come back to that some point in this game.
Rowe goes in motion. Flag down. Motion on the line. Get the call from Reggie Smith in a moment.
Delay of game, defense number 52. Using movements with the intent of causing a false start. A 5-yard penalty, second down.
Rarely called.
That was on John Taylor. We talked about them stemming, and the stem is a pre-snap movement by the defensive line that they use to confuse and disrupt the normal routine of the offensive line, but that time they've got a flag for it.
Rippon, play action, roll out. He's going to dump it incomplete. Trying to check it down to Holden Huff, but it's incomplete. Third down coming.
This is where Utah State has made their hay. We talked about that competitive toughness of Brett Rippon. How's he going to respond here? Can he be at his best when his best is needed? This is an important third down from a momentum standpoint.
0 for tonight on third down. Rippon delivers complete. First down, Boise State. The first third down conversion. A.J. Richardson's first catch of the year.
That ball was on the money where only A.J. Richardson could catch it in tight coverage. And here, Boise's using tempo once again immediately after a first down. I like it.
First down from the 49. Young can't find the edge. Tackled by Kyler Fackrell, the senior from Mesa, Arizona. He was a Mesa High Jackrabbit.
Going to be two future NFLers going at it right here. Left tackle Reese Odiambo trying to block Kyler Fackrell in the stand-up position. Keeps his outside arm and leg free, disengages, and is involved in the tackle once again. Odiambo had pretty high pad level on that last one. He's got to be able to come off and explode through his hips to move Fackrell off the football.
This is Devin Demas slipping his way across the 40 for another Boise State first down. Fackrell on the stop, 12-yard gain. Broncos finding some rhythm.
I like this play. They're going to sit here and pull. It's going to be a G scheme where they're going to get the guard to pull away from the football to be the lead blocker, and Travis Averill leading the way for the first down. That's that ground game they need, and here's those trick plays.
Rippon tosses downfield, batted away, incomplete, intended for Williams Rhodes. So they go Wildcat with Young back into the hands of Rippon, but the Aggies were ready. Devin Centers knocks it away.
We saw one of the better catches in all of college football this year with Stanford last night, running the exact same play, but this time Utah State played quite a bit better defense than UCLA did.
Williams Rhodes couldn't go over the back on Centers to make that catch. We saw from the Cardinal last night. second down, screen, Demas on the outside with a blocker ahead. That's Spurbeck throwing a block to get Demas inside the 35, but it's third down again.
I like the strategy that Boise's using here. They're trying to get their ball carriers out to the perimeter. They ran some perimeter runs with that G scheme, and now they're basically using some perimeter runs with that high frequency passing out on the outside edge. Here's another critical third down. Boise's got some momentum. They need to keep it going.
On the 10th play of the drive.
You see Utah State standing up. They're going to keep moving before the snap to be able to create some confusion. This is called a radar look.
Here they come. Slant, knocked away, intercepted. Another takeaway by the Aggie defense, the third of the night. Torrey Green. Just the second interception thrown by Rippon this year. Three turnovers by Boise State. They came into the night plus 10 turnover margin, 5th best in the nation. But it's the Aggies who are grabbing it away from the Broncos at will. INT to set up Utah State again, already up 24-3. All Aggies here in Logan, 24-3. Later on in this week's Nissan Heisman Watch at the half, the guys in New York will get you up to date on leading Heisman candidates, weigh in who they think will take the sport's most coveted trophy.
Well,
Aaron, I think you would like to win.
Yeah, it's a one-horse race right now, in my opinion, with Leonard Fournette. Javon Boykin finding ways to win games, big numbers. And that LSU offensive line, I'm telling you, Leonard Fournette is good, but that offensive line could be better. What they are doing down there in Baton Rouge is extremely impressive.
And if that LSU offensive line doesn't win the Heisman, I think that as a unit, it would be a strong contender for the Joe Morrow Award.
I think they will. They played extremely well. Got a true freshman left guard. Jeff Grimes, their offensive line coach, doing a masterful job.
Well, a frustrating start for Boise State, and this was a Bronco team that is dominated except for one quarter against BYU when Mangum and BYU was able to come back and have one of their spectacular finishes. That's Boise State's only loss. Other than that, the Broncos have really dominated, including the road win at Virginia.
Illegal substitution, 12 men breaking the huddle. Offense, 5-yard penalty. It's second down.
Okay, Carter, I tell you what, Utah State, for as good as they're playing tonight, all season long, they're the worst in the conference with penalties. Dead last. You've got to be able to fix those little mistakes if you want to be a team that is going to win this game tonight and control your own destiny in the Mountain Division. They've got to clean up those little errors.
3 penalties tonight against Utah State. I don't think Matt Wells agreed with the head linesman on that call. Roll out for Ken Myers, the sophomore from Rowlett, Texas. Back to the original line of scrimmage. Gives us a chance to check in with Brent Stover.
Guys, good game in Provo. Cincinnati and BYU now tied at 17. Nick Kurtz, beautiful catch from Tanner Mangum. Deadlocked in the third. Carter, Aaron, and Jenny.
Right down the Wasatch Range, Brent, in Provo, Utah. Speaking of those BYU Cougars, Mangum.
How you know that?
What, the Wasatch Range?
Yeah.
Come on. Myers, deep shot. Dion bats it away at the last second. Dante Dion keeps it out of the hands of Hunter Sharp.
Great job just timing his jump. I like Utah State trying to get a big play and stretch the field vertically. That'll keep those guys on the heels and hopefully open up that running game. But that was a very important stop by the Broncos, and credit this defensive backfield that could be among the nation's best. They certainly have a knack for getting turnovers. Boise State's going to get back in this game defensively. Those DBs got to continue to make plays.
Aaron Dalton hits it near the 30. Short punt. Shane Williams-Rhodes lets it bounce. And it bounces laterally. Perfectly laterally. It's a strange one. Just a 30-yard punt.
Maverick Stadium. The Aggies have a 24-3 lead. And since 1968, Utah State has really provided these fans with some of the best scenery in college football. But as you can see by all this construction behind me, they're undergoing a $36 million renovation. Let's take a look at some of these Go RVing road trip facts to see what's changing. Well, this renovation will include a 4-story structure. Inside, there will be 24 luxury suites, 20 loge boxes, more than 700 covered seats, and an area for hosting student athletes. Hey guys, I know you'll like this. There's going to be a state-of-the-art work area for the media, and the project will also include upgraded restroom facilities and concessions, and it'll enlarge the concourse area and include 2 new video scoreboards. This should all be completed before the start of the 2016 season.
Fingers crossed, Jenny. Fingers crossed for the next time we come back to Maverick Stadium. The new press facilities will be all ready. Yeah, we had a good time with Athletic Director John Hartwell last night and updating us on some major gifts that have rolled into Utah State athletics. They are truly building towards becoming a major program. And that was a conversation we had with Matt Wells yesterday. Okay, what does it mean if you were finally able to beat Boise State, something they haven't done since 1997? He says, because of the respect we have for Boise State, it would be a huge win for our program.
It won't be as if they've arrived. They played in the championship game a couple years ago after losing to Boise State, but it would be a milestone and be a shift in the power here in the Mountain Division.
Rippon hands off on second down. That's Kelsey Young. And they make it 3rd down and short, maybe 3rd and 1 after the tackle by Nick Vigil. Aaron, you thought the Aggies were going to come out and play well. 24-3 midway through the second.
Turnovers. And I think it's Boise State's own fault. They came out trying to throw the football instead of establishing the run on the road against a good defense. They just got away and got behind too early, but now they're committing to the run, and they're starting to move the football down the field.
Young, the featured back tonight without Jeremy McNichols, and he is dropped as soon as he touches it by Vigil. But he falls forward enough to actually move the chain. So Vigil gets in behind the line of scrimmage, but Young stretches. 1st down, Boise State.
Nick Vigil is such a playmaker, man. He came up and filled his gap with the quickness. Still got the 1st down, but that was quite a stick.
Young dropped for no gain on 1st down. We check in again with Brent Stover in New York.
Carter Greg Ward Jr. his 13th rushing touchdown leads the FBS, and he leads Houston to a 21-7 second quarter lead on Tulane.
And that's an important one for Boise State and maybe Utah State as you talk about the group of 5 teams trying to break into those New Year's 6 bowl games with an eye on the other ranked teams and those outside the Power 5 conferences.
Boise audibling into another play that they feel is to their advantage.
Play fake complete. Jake Rowe on the outside. Tackled by Vigil. So it is October, mid-October, so we start looking at these group of 5 favorites coming into tonight. Boise State was at the top of that list to yet again break into a major bowl game.
Yeah, what really stands out to me about this graphic is how strong the American Conference is this year. That group of 5 putting out some pretty good football, and a lot of it's being done with defense.
And watch Memphis Ole Miss. That may not be as big of an upset as it may appear to be.
Paxton Lynch is a heck of a quarterback. He reminds me a lot of Travis Wilson.
False start. Offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Foolish penalty on the road by right tackle Mario Yaku. Call those coach killers.
Yaku, who left the game with a leg injury earlier, returned for Boise State. False start here to make it 3rd and 9.
Offensive line coach Scott Huff told me that Yaku's his smartest player, one of the hardest workers. Really been happy with the way he shows up and goes to work every day.
Rippon downfield on 3rd and 9. Picked off again. The 4th takeaway by Utah State. Jalen Davis has the INT and then gives it right back to Shane Williams-Rhodes. A fumble off the interception from Jalen Davis gives it right back to Williams-Rhodes and the Broncos.
That could be more costly for Utah State than it was for Boise State. Jalen Davis, in good tight coverage, does a great job of going up and taking this football away, but he gets too greedy here, trying to make something happen. Just careless with the football away from his body, not used to being a ball carrier. Terrible ball skills that time after a really good play by Davis. If you're Boise, after a sudden change like this, take a deep shot, dial up your specials, try to run a reverse, a double pass, something here to try and take advantage of this newfound momentum.
Spurbeck, the big play receiver, bottom of the screen. Rippon looks the other way, right into the hand of Shane Williams-Rhodes, the senior who had a touchdown pass last week at Colorado State.
This is just simple play action, get the backers to overreact to it. Shane Williams-Rhodes bobbles it a little bit, but gets control of it for second and short.
Rippon's going to hand off. Kelsey Young pushing the pile. There's a flag.
Might be a hold.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Defense, number 97. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's Jordan Nielsen. Talked about how good he was with his hands, but he's got his right hand. You can see Averill's face getting turned back. Just got to lower your hand location there. It's good inside. That's what you want. He had good inside leverage. It was just too high.
But inside the helmet is not where you want to be. It was literally all up in his grill.
All up in his grill.
Rippon hands off again to Young inside the 20. There's another flag down. Vigil makes the stop.
It's going to be Jordan Nielsen offsides. When the center put his head up, he followed his head instead of watching the football. Two costly penalties back to back.
Offside. Defense, number 57. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Nielsen had a great game last week. 4 tackles and a sack. I think defensive coordinator Kevin Clune needs to pull him or get somebody else in there. He's hurting his team really bad right now. That's basic football. He's right over the football. There's no excuse for that.
5th penalty against the Aggies. So into the red zone for Boise State. Rippon's going to hand off to Demas. Takes it to the 19 on first and short. Kyler Fackrell on the stop. This is Boise State's first trip into the red zone.
They're pretty good, 87% overall. Do a good job of scoring touchdowns when they're down there. But I tell you what, this Utah State defense is also pretty good in the red zone as well. I think they're going to need to do their best job all season to keep Boise out of the end zone here.
Young straight ahead inside the 10. Kelsey Young makes it first and goal, Boise State. Vigil finally makes the stop.
And that time it was a missed tackle in the hole by the strong safety for Utah State, Marwin Evans, that resulted for the big gain. Oh man, that's David Moala, the nose guard. He's a heck of a player. This would be a costly loss for the Aggies if he can't go. He was a guy that we talked about at the top of the show about controlling that line of scrimmage. He's a big reason why they can do that.
Moala, the senior from Inglewood, California, really stepped up both on and off the field since Travis Seafelt was seriously injured in a car wreck in June along with 4 others. Moala, big leader for the Utah State defense. During the break, David Moala walking off with a little bit of assistance from the Utah State trainers.
He's the nose guard in this 3-4 defense, so his job is to hold the point, if you will, which means be a block eater. Here he is right here. And you're going to see him get rolled up on with his legs by the 3 technique right there. And you're also going to notice number 24 miss a tackle right there. That's Marwin Evans. That missed tackle allowed for the big gain. But Carter, we talked about this in the break. Boise State really needs a touchdown here.
First and goal, 11th play of a bizarre drive where Boise State gave it away, got it back on the same play. Young takes the handoff right in the middle of that Aggie defensive line gets just inside the 5. And Siwa Tofa in there at nose guard with David Mawala exiting.
Yeah, that time the Aggies went to a 4-down look, and you can't blame Boise for trying to test the middle of that defense with Mawala out.
John Taylor in there as well, a senior from Riverside Community College. So big package on the D-line for 2nd and goal. Rippon hands off. Young takes it, stretching, pushing, didn't get to the goal line. 3rd and goal from inside the 1.
Just short there. This Utah State Aggie defense is pretty stout. But again, bouncing to the outside is something that Jerry McNichols was very good at doing. Just good stout tackling there at the line of scrimmage. These are where games are won and lost, Carter, right here on the goal line in the trenches, buddy.
From inside the 1, 3rd and goal. Young takes it and finds the end zone. Touchdown, Boise State. In a strange touchdown drive where the Broncos turned it over for the 4th time and then got it right back. They go to the ground game, and Kelsey Young finds the end zone. Jeremy McNichols there to congratulate his teammates after their first touchdown drive. Ross's PAT. 5 rushes on the drive. After the interception, it was Kelsey Young who took over. After that bizarre play, gave it back to the Broncos. They gave it to Kelsey Young, and he finds the end zone. .312 away from the Verizon halftime report in New York. Brent Stover, Brian Jones, Rick Neuheisel, and former Boise State head coach Houston Nutt to take you through a pretty action-packed Friday night around college football. A couple of ranked teams plus BYU Cincinnati right down the Wasatch Range south of Logan in Provo. Boise State trying to make this a game again. Officially, it's a 7-play scoring drive, or a 13-play if you go back to the interception that was taken away. So bottom line, it's a Boise State touchdown, and after that bizarre play was Kelsey Young leading the way.
Well, 9 of those 13 plays were rushes. They finally got back to that run game that they should have started the game with, and it was successful.
Rossa boots it through for another touchback. So some of the stories that certainly we'll be talking about at Verizon halftime report. I mean, this was all early in the week. What a bizarre week for college football.
It was a crazy week. I mean, Florida really has been the story of the SEC so far this year, maybe even college football. And then Will Greer, their standout quarterback that was getting better by the week, gets suspended for PED use. And then what do you say about what happened with Steve Sarkisian at USC? You just hope he gets himself healthy. There is a solution. I hope he can find it. And then Steve Spurrier announces his resignation. That was questioned by a lot of people, just kind of bouncing and walking away in the middle of the season. My take was he was kind of letting the team move on forward a little bit more quickly, but it does seem kind of strange timing.
Screen immediately read by the Bronco defense. Darian Thompson and Dante Dion nearly picked off the screen.
Carter, you can sense the momentum shift in this stadium. Since that turnover, following the great play by Jalen Davis, it's been the all Boise State Broncos show. This is a very important drive for this defense to get themselves off the field and get the ball back into the offense that finally may be finding its rhythm.
Mays in the backfield. Myers is going to keep it on another design QB run. Talked about how it was going to take from Myers both running and throwing to get the job done tonight. And clearly that's how the Aggies have called it.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago against Colorado State, it was his legs. Last week against Fresno State, it was his arm. He's going to need both. As they take a timeout here to talk about what they're going to do on 3rd down. But, man, you want to talk about one of the better coaching jobs in America? How about what Matt Wells has done at the quarterback position?
Because of the myriad of injuries to Chucky Keaton, and it has been Ken Myers who He spent the spring at wide receiver. So back to fall camp, he moved back to QB, and they have needed Myers, the sophomore, in relief of Chucky Keaton again.
And he's done a good job of being balanced. He's thrown some BBs, man. He's been very, very patient. And that offensive line's giving him some good time, but you see just getting fallen on there by Tyler Horn under a pile of bodies. Man, injuries have been problematic all season long, but he's back out there. He's a tough kid, man.
Chucky Keaton began the year, his senior year at quarterback for the Aggies, but now it's Myers. That one's incomplete. Intended for Hunt on 3rd and long. So Boise State backs up the touchdown drive on offense with a stop on defense.
Great job that time by the Boise State Bronco D. We talked about the momentum. 3 and out, getting the ball back to your offense that has 1 timeout on a good field. It's going to be a short field, and remember, Boise State won the toss and deferred, so they could theoretically get a score here and receive the second half kickoff. This could be the series that changes this game and flips it the other way.
Dalton hits it at the 15. Williams Rhodes, fair catch, grabs it at the 45-yard line. And now we check with Jenny Dell.
Guys, an update on nose guard David Mawala. He was walked off the field with assistance from the trainers. They put a brace on his right knee and then worked him out on the sideline. He shook his head like he was still in severe pain. They brought him back to the training table where they took that brace off, and now he's sitting there with ice on his knee.
And you can see just from the look on David Mawala's face, not good.
Not good at all. Now it's up to the Aggies defense to see if they can respond. They need a stop here as well. One of the things that's allowed Utah State to be successful is good tight press coverage.
Ripping downfield, Spurbeck targeted, incomplete. Couldn't stay in bounds.
Great job of body control by Spurbeck that time. Talk about a wide receiver's catch radius, meaning can he catch the football away from his body? He gets turned around, just misses getting that left foot inside. Beautiful job of tracking that football.
Spurbeck doesn't have a catch after 178 receiving yards last week. Demas dropped. Loose football. Do the Aggies have it again? Yes, they do. Vigil comes away with a football on the fumble by Devin Demas, the 5th Boise State turnover.
Edge pressure that time off the left side of that offensive line, and Demas took a shot by Marwin Evans. He had no choice but to let that football go. You're going to see it off this backside edge here. Whack! Perfect form tackle, head across the bow. Gets that football out. You see him grab his side in pain right there. You hope Demas is okay. But man, talk about the physicality that the Aggies are bringing to the table tonight.
He picked up the wood and laid it.
Baby.
Plus 10 through the first 6 games, and now minus 4 turnover margin tonight as Demas gets worked on the sideline.
Well, with the injuries they have at that running back position, that's going to leave Kelsey Young, maybe Jack Fields, maybe Kelsey's brother Corey get some touches tonight.
Apparently they're going to take a look at that fumble by Demas. We look at it again as well.
Outside edge pressure.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down.
That was clearly a fumble.
Yes. Man, that's what's so hard about playing this Aggie defense, Carter. Big line dudes up all over the place, and it breaks your rules. Every play that you have has a rule, and you have to assign a hat for a hat. But because of their movement by Utah State, it makes it really hard to pick up guys, and you have a lot of guys come free, and that's when problems occur.
Myers delivers to the outside. That's Devontae Robinson who takes it to the 39. Last 2 Aggie possessions, 0 yards, back-to-back 3 and outs.
Nice pickup on first down. You have plenty of time with 2 timeouts with just under a minute 50 to dial up your whole offense. You can't take too much time, but you don't have to panic. You need to execute and not turn the ball over. Can't take a sack either. That's the worst thing they could do right now. If I was Boise, I'd bring some heat.
Myers pulls it, has the first down, shaking his way inside the 25. Ken Myers, touchdown, Utah State. 39-yard run for the sophomore QB.
Simple quarterback counter. They've hit him off that off-tackle play with the quarterback several times tonight. The third time he hits pay dirt, and there's those legs we talked about Kent Myers. He's having a heck of a ball game.
Two weeks ago set a Utah State QB record with 191 rushing yards in the win over Colorado State. And after back-to-back 3-and-outs.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 76, 5-yard penalty, try for point.
We'll do it again. So Myers, who was slated to play wide receiver this year for Utah State in his sophomore season. But the Aggie coaching staff and Matt Wells thought we need to get him some reps in the fall at quarterback just in case. And when Chucky Keaton went down with another leg injury, it was Ken Myers taking over. Tonight, the sophomore QB, 10 rushes, 69 yards, and a TD rush to put the Aggies up by 3 touchdowns.
Well, this is just going to be a counter right here where they're going to bring the backside left guard and the tight end through. It's a counter because the counter motion starts to the left and then comes back to the right in a poor angle again by a safety, Cameron Miles. This time for Boise, results in a touchdown for the Aggies. Tell you what, Utah State's controlling the line of scrimmage against a top 10 defense, Carter. Boise State is very, very good, and there's some really good perimeter blocking as well. These guys on all levels. Man, that's your star wide receiver, Hunter Sharp, possibly making the key block to spring it. When you have guys firing on all cylinders like that, it's worth celebrating.
The Boise State Broncos had been dominant defensively in the first half. 31 points allowed through 6 games. Tonight, 31 on the board for Utah State.
It's a great graphic by the truck that really sums up how this ball game has gone.
Johnson's going to bring it out. And that's a difference of about 9 yards. If he had taken a knee, it'd be at the 25. Johnson brings it to the 16.
Okay, if you're Boise, I think you're better off running this clock out and trying to regroup, especially with as turnover prone as you've been. You may just want to be conservative here and start a new ball game. 21 points with this offense playing at its potential isn't a whole lot. Maybe you throw some screens or do something that's high percentage, maybe a halfback screen, but do not turn this ball over.
Rippon slant to the outside for Anderson. Wrapped up as soon as he grabs it. Hines and Fackrell both there on the stop. Is it another turnover? Yes, it is. Anderson fumbles the football, and it's takeaway number 6 by the Aggie defense. It's a spectacular performance by the Aggie defense, but the Boise State offense is melting down.
Tried to tell him.
That's right.
Unbelievable. You can't do it. Kelsey Young's trying to make a play, but that's Kyler Fackrell coming over. That ball is starting to come out. Young just loses it. Nobody even strips it. But because he's wrapped up with 2 defenders, we talked about tackling, running to the football, a 3rd defender coming over, a 4th. When you fly to the football, good things happen.
Just like you talked about, AT.
We talked about it a year ago. 7 turnovers, last in the conference. Their last loss was against Air Force. Well, tonight they've got 6, and they're trying to repeat what they did a year ago. with the Mountain Division driver's seat being on the line. And more than that, how about them being in the driver's seat for the New Year's 6 position, being the highest ranked conference champion out of the group of 5? That's in jeopardy right now.
Well, Boise State can hope that 2015 works out like 2014 because they lost that game at Air Force. They fell to 3-2 and then rallied down the stretch to win the Mountain West and end up in the Fiesta Bowl where they beat Arizona again. So, you know, it was Utah State who came into this game saying it's not a championship game, it's not the Super Bowl. No matter what happens, we can still win the division. Calls confirmed. Takeaway by Utah State, the 6th of the night.
Worst thing they could have done is turn that football over once. I mean, how many times have they turned the football over now inside the 25-yard line? 3 turnovers, as far as my memory is. 2 of those were inside the 20. You're not going to win playing against anybody if you do that.
How about this for Utah State? 16 takeaways in the last 3.5 games.
That's going to win you some ball games.
Myers to the end zone. Sharp. Looking for the call. Touchdown, Utah State. Sharp in the corner of the end zone. Third touchdown pass of the night for Kent Myers. Second to Hunter Sharp. Utah State is routing 21st ranked Boise State.
Firing on all levels. Hunter Sharp, that had the great block on that touchdown, goes up with a contested catch and just wrestles it away. Great concentration. He's not even looking at the football, but he can feel it, and he wrestles it down. They're going to need to take a look at his feet. The call's a touchdown on the field. He's got his right foot that looks like it gets down. It looked like he had possession of the football card. I think this is going to be a touchdown. Great concentration to go up and get that football. My goodness. Hunter Sharp is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the country, I believe. He kind of popped out on tape with me last year down on the field before the game. He's a big, physical-looking receiver, and he used that physicality to wrestle that ball away on that last play.
That may go under simultaneous catch.
Tie goes to the runner.
Page 30 of the rule book. Simultaneous catch or recovery. A catch in which there is joint possession of a live ball by opposing players inbounds. When in question, it's a catch.
That might have been close to getting his backside left foot down. They can review it all they want. I think that's a catch. They want to get it right. You got to give it credit to the replay officials.
This is a big night for Hunter Sharp, a guy who was recruited by Boise State, set to be a Bronco, didn't qualify academically, so he goes to Antelope Valley Junior College. Qualifies after 2 years at Antelope Valley, ends up signing with Utah State. Coming into his senior year, he's suspended the first 2 games of the season. So finding a rhythm, just getting back for the Aggies. And here he is against the team that recruited him out of high school, Boise State. Hunter Sharp has 2 touchdown catches if this one stands.
Give credit to Jonathan Moxie. That was great coverage. He put his hand in there to try and disrupt it, but Hunter Sharp, with both hands clutching that football, wrestles it away, and it looks like he maintains possession through the action of the catch, which is what you need to do to remain or retain possession.
Moxie, who had a spectacular interception a week ago.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called.
There's a lot of football left, but this is feeling like a special night for the Utah State Aggies.
Man, I told you when we came on camera tonight, I had a feeling, you just kind of sensed it, that if Boise State didn't show up early and establish some momentum early on in the ball game that they could be in trouble, and that's exactly what happened. It all goes back to that first drive, man. Came out through 3 passes, didn't try and establish the run, got a little too cute. Utah State came out, controlled the line of scrimmage, and found a way to take possession early, and they haven't looked back.
6 turnovers now by Boise State. Hard to imagine.
Well, it first started with pressure because they were in 3rd and long situations. Kevin Clune bringing it off the edges, up the middle, off the side. Vigil being able to get home. And then it was just the tip drill. Being active around the football and trying to give yourself a chance to play. And then you come off that backside. Man, Marwin Evans jarring the football loose every which way possible. This Aggie defense has brought it.
And 28 points resulting off those 6 takeaways. 3 of them, as you said, Aaron, inside the 25-yard line.
Carter, in an average football game, offenses on average get 12 possessions. If you give away 6 of those, you're not going to win the football game.
Safe to say this isn't an average football game.
Not tonight, it's not.
Another touchback. I mean, this is so much like the Air Force loss a year ago when the Broncos turned it over on the road against the Falcons and suffered their 2nd loss.
And some of those were inexplicable, those balls that were getting thrown up. I remember we were scratching our heads going, what is happening here? But tonight, it's Utah State's defense and being aggressive that's been the difference.
Utah State has won 11 straight here on Merlin Olsen Field. Boise State, the last to win here in 2003, but 11 straight for Utah State, and Boise State one more crack at it with a minute to go at the end of the 2nd quarter.
Well, you've got a minute left, 1 timeout. You're going to work the edges.
Over the middle to the 49.
Or over the middle, and the clock will stop with the 1st down, but it'll be a running clock. Once they get set, it'll continue to run. Utah State needs to be aggressive here and come after them.
Rippon to the sticks again. That's back-to-back catches for Chaz Anderson. Quickly into Aggie territory at the 45.
Boise State moving the football, using tempo. This could set the tone for what they're going to do in the 2nd half. Historically, they've done it, but with a true freshman quarterback, they've had to slow things down. They may not have a choice but to do that in the 2nd half.
3 straight catches by Anderson. Rippon's going to dump this one to the sideline, incomplete.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. Quarterback was out of the pocket, and the pass made the line of scrimmage. 3rd down.
So impressed with Nick Vigil closing on that football. I mean, he closes that gap right away. You see him here, he's bird dogging on the green dog blitz, and then he breaks out. Look at him track him down. He's a heck of a playmaker.
Older brother Zach, linebacker for the Dolphins, made the team as a undrafted free agent. Rippon almost picked again off the hands of Chaz Anderson. Jalen Davis nearly had another one.
These DBs for Utah State are playing outstanding tonight. We've seen even a couple weeks ago that Boise State, their receivers had cushions, but Utah State is aggressively playing them up at the line of scrimmage, disrupting the route. That extra time is what's allowing that pressure to get home and putting Rippon under pressure.
4th down in no man's land. Slant caught. 1st down inside the 35. A.J. Richardson, who has the first 2 catches of his Bronco career tonight.
Clock's going to get running here. There it goes. They still have a timeout left. They may want to take a deep shot here.
Rippon with pressure coming. Fumbles. Recovered by Utah State again. That's ruled a fumble and a recovery by the Aggies.
The ruling on the field is the quarterback had an empty hand going forward. A fumble recovered by the defense.
Takeaway number 7 by Utah State. Fackrell strips Rippon.
Kyler Fackrell off that outside edge, matched up one-on-one with Mario Yaku. Keep an eye on that football. I don't know, that bar may have been coming forward. They need to take a look at this. Oh, that is close. His arm looked like it had stopped at the moment that Fackrell grabbed the inside of his elbow. Now the ball flies forward, but I think that's more of a factor of Fackrell hitting his arm. I cannot definitively say with that look that it looked like Rippon was moving the football forward, in which case I think it'd be a fumble.
The ruling on the field of a fumble is under further review.
This is close.
Well, it was possible, as you said, to think that Utah State defensively was going to be ready for this game. Impossible to think 7 first-half turnovers by Boise State.
This defensive line of Utah State is whipping a pretty good offensive line for Boise State right now. They only brought 5 rushers. And one of them, Kyler Fackrell, got home. That arm comes back. Man, it's close. It almost, to me, Carter, looks like his arm was moving forward a smidge right before Fackrell hit it. They may get this back.
By a smidge.
A smidge.
That's in the rule book, I think.
It's an actual word. You can look it up.
Counts in Scrabble. Now, regardless, Utah State is ready to celebrate an incredible first half.
I don't know what your answer is here if you're Boise State, but just to start over and try and win the second half. They're explosive offensively. They lead the Mountain West Conference with 32 plays over 20 yards coming into tonight's game, averaging almost 500 yards of offense. Scored 50 points 3+ times so far this year. They can score, but right now they're just getting dominated at the line of scrimmage. And their receivers, virtually no ability to create separation and get themselves open because of that tight coverage by the Aggies. Oh, yeah. See you, Big Papa.
Our replay official Thomas Robinson taking a long look at this one. You think Kevin Clune's happy?
You think?
If it stands, Malo gets the recovery, and Fackrell with another forced fumble. A dominating effort by the Utah State defense in the first half.
2 years ago, watching Kyler Fackrell on tape, man, he really popped. He would just show up and make plays. Last year in week 1, tore his ACL. He's been kind of quiet, but tonight it's been his coming out party. There's a lot of NFL scouts here, a lot of people watching at home. Number 9, if he can get a little bit bigger and put some weight on, get in that weight room and stop rehabbing that knee quite as much as he's been, focus on adding some mass, he can be a heck of a playmaker on the next level. Kind of a Shea McClellan, ironically, that played for Boise State. Yeah, that arm's coming forward right before he touches it. It looks like he's going for the arm. That's exactly what you want to do as a defender. But Rippon, to his credit, that arm was coming forward a smidge before Fackrell grabs his arm. They got lucky. I don't blame him for taking some time. It's close.
As it is now the 7th turnover by the Boise State offense. The third fumble by the true freshman quarterback, Brett Rippon. And we talked about it coming in. A guy who, as an 18-year-old true freshman, had been spectacular in 2 road wins, only 1 interception. The road wins at UVA and Colorado State, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, no fumbles by the freshman in 2 road games. And yet, week in and week out, you just wondered.
After further review, it's been determined that it's an incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd down and 10 from the 33-yard line. Will the clock operator please reset the clock to 33 seconds? Correction, 17 seconds. 17 seconds on the clock.
It's been one of the biggest celebrations by the Boise State fans tonight.
But to their credit, they're at the line of scrimmage and they're ready, man. You've got to have a short-term memory. This would be a huge score for them here if they get a touchdown, because Boise State, as a reminder, gets this ball back to start the second half.
Rippon to throw on 2nd down. Deep shot, end zone for Anderson, incomplete. With Hines in coverage.
Seemed to me that Rippon that time threw that football a little early. Maybe he heard some footsteps. There was some pressure off that backside.
Can you blame him at this point?
No, I can't. He's usually got pretty good deep ball touch, but just simply overthrew the receiver on that one.
2 INTs, 2 lost fumbles. 3rd down. Rippon hit as he throws off the hands of Spurbeck, intercepted. There's the 7th takeaway. Marwin Evans, and he may take it back. Evans with an exclamation point to a dominating first half for Utah State. 90 yards on the interception and return for a touchdown with zeros on the clock. A stunning 44-10 lead for Utah State on 21st ranked Boise State. The Aggie defense with an immaculate performance in the first half against the Broncos.
I don't know what that look was on his face, but they are playing nasty. Marwin Evans, man, I thought he played well a week ago, having 2 sacks. He's outdone himself here tonight in the first half, I'll tell you that.
This is the end of the first half.
Well, keep your eye right here. He's just going to sink. There's going to be man coverage. He's going to sink with that post. And the ball gets high. Rippon saw him sinking, and he had to throw the football a little bit high. And then it's just Marwin Evans to the house. Got that head cocked up, peeking over his left shoulder. And that could be the nail in the coffin for this Boise State team early in this first quarter. 3 turnovers ago, I thought Boise should have kneeled it and went in and regrouped at halftime. And they got greedy, put the ball in the air, trying to close the lead. And you can't blame them for being aggressive, but my goodness.
45-10. Jenny is with Aggie head coach Matt Wells.
Coach, before the game, you said the key to success tonight would be turnovers. Boise State has now given up 7. How pleased are you with the way your team's responded?
It obviously was a big part of our game plan going in, trying to create them and then not giving them up on offense. The key to that is, number 1, we've been able to create them, but number 2, we've turned them into touchdowns.
What a way to finish the half. How do you make sure this team carries on the momentum?
Well, that's where the leadership in the locker room's got to come in. We got to come back out and we got to play a second half, obviously.
Thank you, Coach.
At the end of the first half, the score, amazingly, Utah State 45, Boise State 10. After the break, we'll send you back for the Verizon Halftime Report. You're watching college football on CBS Sports Network, presented by Geico.